Jeremiah 44:23 says, "Because you have burned sacrifices and have sinned against the Lord, and not obeyed the voice of the Lord, or walked in his law, his statutes, or his testimonies, therefore this calamity has befallen you, as it has today." Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 90-day reading plan, today's reading is Jeremiah 44. I encourage you to read that passage. Well, in Luke 12, verses 2 through 3, Jesus is speaking to the people about following what the Pharisees do. And Jesus warned the people that everything they do will eventually be found out. There's nothing that will be ultimately hidden. I recently heard on the news that a senator received a letter or a phone call from a person who told some stories about the Supreme Court nominee, Judge Kavanaugh, when he was in high school. And according to that senator, these allegations were serious enough to warrant them being forwarded to the FBI. Whether or not the allegations are true or false doesn't make any difference. Just a hint that he had done something as a high schooler was enough for these people to cry out that he's not qualified to be a Supreme Court justice. When John 8, 1 through 11, Jesus confronted the Pharisees concerning a woman who had been caught in adultery. Jesus never directly addressed her possible sin, with the exception of when he says, verse 11, "Go and sin no more." What is interesting is that he asked the Pharisees to decide who would throw the first stone. That person would be seen as sinless. All of them declined the invitation because they all knew that they had sinned. Our lives have the possibility of being an open book, or at least a few pages out of that book. We all have sinned, and we all have sinned secretly. We think that we'll not be found out, but our sin eventually will catch up with us. 1 John 1:9 tells us that if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. While our sin may be forgiven, depending on the sin, there may be consequences that result from it.